Last night, the Giants played long ball in Denver with 3 home runs, 2 by rookie Trevor Brown to take game 1 of the series. Jeff Samardzija was sharp, pitching 8 strong innings to continue his success in the Mile High City. Tonight, it's Jake Peavy's turn to take on the Rockies at Coors Field. Game 2 of the series, next. We are back at Coors Field tonight as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series, Giants and Rockies. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper. Alongside me is Mike Krukow. Well, a nice win to open up the series for the Giants. Last night, Jeff Samardzija was fabulous. And Jake Peavy tonight, look, Jake Peavy is over 500 pitching in this ballpark in his career, so he will go tonight.
Well, he will go tonight. He'll try to get himself in the win column and give the Giants a chance to win. Now, so far, it's all been about the home runs with the Giants this year. Home run in every game. They're tied for the league's lead with team home runs with 17. But what's even more important than that is that you've had distribution of offense from everybody in the lineup. And they're a team that has a lot of confidence, especially when they're down to another team. They have the ability to come back. So they're a confident bunch. They need to get Peavy going. He's the key.
Trevor Brown is in the lineup. He'll be catching Jake Peavy. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at Trevor Brown's night last night. It was a fabulous night. And it's all about Trevor Brown right after this.
Baseball on CSN Bay Area is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the Baconlicious Sourdough Bacon Ranch Combo only at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota. Let's go places.
Back here at Denver at Coors Field, fans filing in as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series.
All right, time now for our Togo's Big Play. The Togo's way in last night. The hero was Trevor Brown. Why? Well, he had 2 home runs, 2 two-run homers. This is a 6th-inning shot off of Tyler Chatwood. And then in the 8th inning off Jason Gurka, he does it again on a 3-2 breaking ball. 2 hits, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. That's our Togo's Big Play, the Togo's way.
A couple of more notes on Trevor Brown. Giants rookies to hit 3 home runs over their first 3 games. Well, the legendary Bobby Thompson did it in 1947. And the last 2 Giants to hit a home run for their first 3 hits of the season. Kevin Mitchell, one of Mike Kruko's all-time favorite teammates. Kevin Mitchell did it in 1991, and I should have remembered that, but I didn't. All right, we've got baseball. We've got Game 2 of the series. It's Jake Peavy on the mound for the Giants. When we come back, we will have lineups. First pitch right after this. Look at our game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The Boardwalk, yes indeed, it's open. Visit beachboardwalk.com for park hours. 68 degrees, you got winds at 9 miles per hour. Humidity is low and it is partly cloudy. So quick look at the Giants lineup as Jordan Lyles is getting ready. It'll be Span, Panic, and Pence. Brandon Belt will hit in the cleanup spot. Then it's Duffy, Crawford, and Angel Pagan, who's red hot right now. Trevor Brown, big game last night. He'll hit 8th and Jake Peavy 9th.
On the hill tonight for the Colorado Rockies will be the right-hander Jordan Lyles. Lyles, 25 years old, 6'4", 230-pounder, in his 5th year at the big league level. This is what he did in his opening day assignment against the San Diego Padres. Did not fare well. He gave up 10 base runners at 3 1/3. When he's right, you're going to see a fastball low to mid-90s, and he'll have a curveball slider changeup combination. Lifetime against the Giants, 1-2 with a 5.81 ERA. And let's take a look at the defense playing behind Jordan Lyles. For the Rockies, starting in their outfield from left to right, it'll be Parra, Blackman, and Gonzalez. Really good assist arms across the board, but really strong arms on the corners. Story and Arenado on the left side of the infield. LeMahieu and Paulson on the right side. Nick Hundley, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs. It's a very good defensive Rockies team.
So here's Denard Span to lead things off. Facing Jordan Lyles. And the first pitch of the ball game is on its way, and it's wrapped on the ground to Paulson. And that's how this game gets started.
All right, time now for our Nissan keys of the game. Number one, Jake Peavy, a little overamped in his start in San Francisco. He did not have a slider. That'll be a key. We'll watch that. And this is a much more normal start. Hopefully he can calm it down just a bit and find that slider. Number two, hey, Trevor Brown, stay hot. He's got 3 hits in the big leagues, all home runs, 2 last night. Why not? Those are our Nissan keys of the game.
Here's Panic. By the way, Span was 1 for 5 last night. Here's Panic, and he takes a strike, and he too was 1 for 5. Rockies are 3 and 4 on this young season. The Giants are 6 and 2. As Panic takes wide, Panic comes in at .258, a home run, 6 driven in. Giants are 3 and 1 on the road and 3 and 1 at home. Small body of work, but still, as this has popped up, it'll be LeMahieu. LeMahieu puts it away. 2 outs. And here's Pence. Pence in the game last night hit a home run. Had 3 RBIs. He also knocked in a run with a base hit to left field. This was the big fly.
Now this came in a 2-strike count as well. Really, no doubt about her. Left center, see you later.
And he chases the first pitch, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
Right off the mask of plate umpire Rob Drake. Rob Drake behind the plate. Carlos Torres over at first base. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, at second tonight. Sam Holbrook at third. And Drake is he's got a steady umpire or steady zone, but it's pretty small. But you don't have to throw it between the catcher's knees to get a strike. He has his zone, sets it up, but it's not a real big one. But you will see belts, you will see some knees.
Pence does have a lifetime home run off of Lyles. He's 4 for 12. The game yesterday started where it was overcast. When the sun is out here, at least at this time of the year, there's a lot of sun in between the hitting background and second base. This is rolled to Arenado, and he'll make an off-balance throw, and that'll end the inning. 8-pitch inning, a 1-2-3 inning. Peavy coming out. Rockies are coming up. that Jake Peavy will be facing. It'll go like this. It'll be Charlie Blackmon to lead it off, followed by Trevor Story. Then it's Gonzalez and Arenado, and he's got pretty good numbers against Peavy. Followed by Parra, Hundley, and Paulson. LeMahieu, who's off to a great start, he'll hit 8th, and Jordan Lyles will hit 9th.
On the hill tonight for the Giants will be the veteran Jake Peavy. Peavy in his 14th year at the big league level, 34 years of age, 6'1", 180-pounder. And this was his outing in San Francisco when he pitched the home opener against the Dodgers. When he's right, you're going to see a fastball that's 88 to 91. It's a low 3/4 release. He will sink it. He will cut the fastball. He's got a slider and a changeup. And he will back off speeds and add speeds on every pitch that he has. Lifetime against these Colorado Rockies, he is 5-4. I beg your pardon. He is 7-7 with a 3.90 ERA.
And Blackmon takes one just above the belt for a ball. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Blackmon off to a slow start. He's 3 for 22. And he hammers one out into right center field. Pence can't get there. It bounces high up against that wall, and Blackmon's got a leadoff triple. So that's how it starts for the Rockies here in the bottom of the first.
I think that Pence may have lost this ball. High fly ball really spits the outfielders. Just can't get there. I mean, that's a situation where a year ago when they didn't have the extended fence in right center, it would have hit the ground and bounced over the wall. It'd been a ground rule double, but it's now a 16-foot fence out there.
I agree with you. I don't think he ever saw it.
I don't think he did.
So a triple for Blackmon, and here's Trevor Story. Story last night went 0 for 4. And here he takes a called strike. I mean, looking right into the sun, right?
Well, you know, the sun is, I think it's to the right of home plate. I mean, but I think he ran to an area, looked up, and that's when the sun got him. I think he got raised with the sun.
And a quick 0-2 to Trevor Story. He has been a big story. 7 home runs, although shut down last night. He's also struck out 11 times. 11 times and 31 at bats, including 3 times last night. And what the Giants did is they stayed away from him. High fastball, 1-2.
Well, last night, I mean, Jeff Samardzija just wore him out, and what Samardzija had was a cut fastball was going 92 to 96 miles per hour, pounding the outside corner, and Story had no defense for it.
Here he takes low. It's 2-2. He's got 12 runs batted in on this young season. The Rockies have played 7 games. They're 3-4. This is driven to right. Hunter Pence will move over. He'll make the catch. It'll be a sacrifice fly. Coming in to score is Blackmon, and it's 1-0.
Let's take a look at the Giants defensively. Starting in their outfield from left to right, it'll be Pagan, Span, and Pence. Crawford and Duffy on the left side of the infield. Panic and Feld on the right side. Trevor Brown, he'll be in the squad, putting down the sides.
So here's Carlos Gonzalez. 1 for 4 last night. And a called strike. Gonzalez has only faced Peavy 7 times, and he doesn't ever have a hit against him. He's 0 for 7.
Not much of a shift outside of the left side of the infield.
This is pop just below us, and it's 0-2. Down the right field line. That's a fair ball. It died down into the corner, and that's going to allow Gonzalez to get into third. So 2 triples here in the first.
And these are unpredictable corners here at Coors Field, especially in the right field side.
You ever wonder if Gonzalez is a low ball hitter? Every once in a while it becomes very obvious.
Hitz kind of positioned himself to play the carom that never came. Kind of got stuck underneath the padding there. So 2 triples in the inning.
So here's Arenado. He picked up a hit last night in 4 at-bats. It was a pop-up that should have been caught that fell. And a swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike.
Spring training down in Arizona, Arenado was the hottest man in the world. I think he hit 700 or something ridiculous, and I don't think he had many singles. He was the talk of the Cactus League.
And it's nothing in 2.
42 homers last year. And there weren't many cheap ones in the bunch.
Not many, you're right.
10 of them he hit against the Giants.
Hit up the middle. Crawford is going to make the play, and they got him. Coming in to score is Gonzalez. 2 outs. Well, how do you feel about the Giants being behind each of the last 8 games? The team that scored first ended up losing the game.
It's kind of absurd, but it has been the theme song this year. But having the ability to come back, I mean, that's something you want to, that's a confidence you want to develop early in the year.
Well, the game on Sunday's the one, right? 5-0 in the first.
Yeah.
Parra hitting at .217. And he rolls this one fair over the bag at first. I mean, this could be a triple. Oh, he's going to stop at second with a double. And that'll bring up Hundley.
Now, for every good pitcher, there's always that first inning of vulnerability when you haven't quite figured out what's working. What you have working in the bullpen and what you take out there to the mound are 2 different things.
So here's Hundley. Hundley takes a pitch inside for a ball. Hundley on the year, .278, a home run. He's got 3 runs batted in. Went 0 for 3 in the game last night. Give you a look to second. And 1 ball and 1 strike now to Hundley. Last year 2-0 against the Rockies. And as Mike mentioned, 7-7 lifetime. Hundley fouls it out of play, 1-2. These 2 teams will wrap up this 3-game series tomorrow afternoon, and then the Giants will head to Los Angeles.
Rockies head to Chicago, take on the Cubs. Peavy facing a former teammate. Nick Hundley, we played together in San Diego.
Hundley asked for time.
I always thought it was tough to face guys that you liked. I mean, former teammates that you didn't like, not a problem. But guys that you liked, it was hard. Hard because it was hard to go inside. I mean, you knew their wives, you knew their kids. Guy you didn't like, if you went inside and you missed and you hit him, you'd feel bad about that. But the guy you liked, it's tough.
1-2. Two balls, two strikes.
Pitching inside, not a problem for Jake Peavy. And he just proved it.
Or maybe he didn't like him.
Nick Hundley, he's hard not to like.
Just kidding. Two balls, two strikes. Lifted into left center field as Pagan will track it down. 3 extra base hits, 2 runs for the Rockies. Second inning coming up, 2-0. Colorado.
That's right. The Miami Marlins coming to AT&T Park the weekend of April 22nd and 24th. Giancarlo Stanton, Barry Bonds. On Saturday, April 23rd, we honor Matt Duffy with his first Major League bobblehead. And the first 40,000 fans are going to get one, courtesy of PG&E. Go to sfgiants.com/tickets and check it out.
Well, we're going to check out Brandon Belt as he is going to lead things off. Lyles has a 2-0 lead. Overshift is on for Belt with Duffy and then Crawford to follow. When the Rockies do the overshift, LeMahieu does not play very deep. He plays his normal spot, at least depth-wise. And that might have to do with the fact that Belt runs pretty well. This is popped up into shallow left field. It's a long run for Parra, and he'll eventually get there and make the catch. And that'll bring up Duffy. Duffy was tested last night. He was tested in a sense that how many times was he going to throw his helmet? He hit 3 line drives at Rockies defenders. And he ended up going 0 for 4. Make that 0 for 3.
Well, that's baseball. You would think that tonight he'd break 2 bats and get blue base hits, and it kind of evens out, right?
Of course.
Although you'll never get a hitter to admit that.
Tap to third. Arenado's got it. And with 2 quick outs, that'll bring up Crawford.
I think Arenado likes those 1-foot throws. Throw off the right foot going to his left, throw off the right foot going to his right. I think he just likes it. Regular ground balls, I think, are boring to him. Because he can make some acrobatic plays. This one's, you know, really not that tough, but he's kind of bored with it. Just flip him out. Great feet for a third baseman. Great feet for an athlete. I mean, he's just exceptional.
Here's Crawford. Crawford fouls it back. Crawford 2 for 4 last night. He's got his average at 308. He's 1 for 7 lifetime against Lyles. No Buster Posey tonight. There's a chance no Buster Posey tomorrow.
Well, it's nice when the backup catcher hits 2 home runs in a ball game like Trevor Brown did last night, and it allows Posey an extra day's rest. It's hard though. I mean, he's got the best batting average of any active player here at Coors Field, visiting active player. Lifetime batting average is 396 here at Coors Field. Loves it here. What hitter doesn't love it here?
That's a fact. Outside to Crawford, 2-2.
Because not only do you get great carry and home runs fly out of here, but there's so much outfield where there's room for base hits.
Plus the infield's hard. Crawford pops it up. It'll be LeMahieu, and that'll end the inning. So that's a 9-pitch inning for Lyles. Peavy coming back out, 2-0 Rockies.
On CSN Bay Area is brought to you by AAA. Get a free Giants all-season blanket. Restrictions apply. Go to AAA.com/Giants or to a AAA branch for details.
Peavy to Paulson in a swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike. 2-0 Colorado here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Paulson 2 for 11 on this season. Blackman, Gonzalez, and Parra all with extra base hits in the 1st inning. One and 2.
Good changeup.
Hey, get a Warrior guy. Got a babe.
Oh, he's feeling it.
Brought his son
She's feeling it. Happy to wear her colors.
Warriors going for win number 73 tonight, and that would be the best record in the NBA ever. Got him.
Paulson blowing away.
Here's LeMahieu.
It's all about establishing both sides of the plate with all your pitches. Let the Rockies know that every pitch you can throw for a strike.
And a base hit into center field. LeMahieu stays hot.
Take a look at the stuff that you'll see when you take your bats off of Jake Peavy. 80% of the time you're going to see something hard between the fastball and the cutter, and then he's got a curveball, changeup, and a slider. And his slider cutter are two different pitches. And as we said before, he will back speeds off of all those pitches. He's got a nice touch, and what makes him unique is he can do it from low 3/4. That arm slot is always been his arm slot, and it really isn't an easy thing to do to throw the ball straight from a low 3/4 release. You're going to get natural sink movement that runs into a righty away from a lefty.
Miles trying to bunt. It's a hit and run, and that's looped into center field. Span coming in, and he's going to make the running catch. His off-balance throw to Belt is late, and it shoots by Belt.
Really not a surprise. Miles a pretty good hitting pitcher. And with Walt Weiss, I mean, he's aggressive that way. If he has got a good hitting pitcher that has the ability to control a bat, he'll turn him loose. There's a lot of hits out there in that outfield.
So here's Blackman, and Blackman takes a strike.
Peavy really hasn't been in anything he hasn't done in this game. He's won a Cy Young, did that with the Padres in 2007, an All-Star, an opening day pitcher. He's been on 2 World Series championships, one with the Red Sox, one with the Giants. Played both leagues. 14-year veteran. He'll turn 35 in May.
He wants to keep going.
He wants to keep going. That's the attitude to have. He's as enthusiastic about this game as he was the very first day he walked into a big league clubhouse.
Blackman fouls it back. He tripled in the first inning. So it's no balls and 2 strikes. Peavy at the belt, and this is popped up. I do believe it's going to reach the seats. So Blackman will see another pitch.
Some fans making a play up there. Giants fan, this is a great ballpark to visit. Beautiful Coors Field. People that work the field are just incredibly nice people.
Down low, no swing, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mike, if the Warriors win tonight, just another way to look at their record, they will end up 64 games over 500.
That is amazing. It truly is amazing.
1 ball and 2 strikes. And a quick toss.
Sun splashes off the field now. It starts to favor the hitter here as the lights start to take control. Early in the first 3 innings of this ball game, or this ballpark, it isn't the easiest ballpark to see.
And LeMahieu goes, and this is out of play. Yeah, just ask Hunter Pence. LeMahieu has to go back.
When they opened this place up in 1995, it opened all of our eyes. And everybody in the league kept saying, I want to get that, I want to get that, I want to get that. They wanted their version of Coors Field. And it really happened. Camden Yards, Coors Field, I mean, those 2 ballparks really set the tone.
Jake Peavy's going to rub up a new baseball and figure, how am I going to get one past Charlie Blackmon? He seems to be having pretty good looks at Jake Peavy.
Well, it's Hunter Pence's birthday. Everybody's celebrating. So happy birthday, Hunter Pence. There's the birthday boy.
Is that true?
It is.
Really?
We have to cheer her up.
1 down, 1 and 2.
A lot of stretch time so far early in this game for Jake Peavy.
And a full count.
He's got to come to him now.
Payoff pitch. LeMahieu goes, swinging a shot, foul down the right field line.
So he comes at him with a little 3-2 slider. Solid contact by Blackmon, just a little bit out front. Blackman's got a flat swing. Good high ball hitter, good mistake hitter. And he's got power.
This will be pitch number 10 coming up. Belt in foul territory, and we'll do it again.
And we talked about it last night. I mean, the pitch count is so important to guys these days. It dictates how long you can stay in the game. And if you get a couple of at-bats where guys do what Blackman's doing, get 10, 11, 12 pitches out of Peavy, that's like taking an inning off of your outing. Jeff Samardzija got his first win last night as a Giant. He was masterful.
111 pitches for Samardzija. And another 3-2 pitch. And he lifts it into right field, shallow. And it's going to fall off the glove. And they're going to hold LeMahieu. Is going into second, and the ball squirts away from Brown. And now the Rockies are in trouble. And Duffy is going to tag out LeMahieu. And the Giants work on that in spring training every day. And they get the big out. You got to be kidding me. Woohoo!
On CSN Bay Area is brought to you by Heffernan Insurance Brokers. Insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com.
A 2-0 lead for the Rockies is Pagan, Brown, and Peavy will hit.
It's a great shot at Denver, Colorado. Beautiful city.
Pagan last night had 3 hits. He's hitting .379.
Joe Panik almost came up with the play of the year.
Two 2-0 to Pagan.
Now this is what Panik almost pulled off. The ball just off the fingertips. Remember, a second baseman's glove is the smallest one in the infield. And even at that, he almost pulled it off.
3-0. Yeah, look, you always had some back issues last year, as Joe did, so you worry a little bit about that. I mean, he fell hard, kind of twisted. I think he was jarred more than anything, as Pagan takes a 4-pitch walk. First base runner for the Giants.
And that's a mistake. Walks in this ballpark. Walks haunt in any ballpark, but they haunt a little more here at Coors Field. All right, time now for McDonald's True Stories. The number of games for the Giants to hit 17 home runs. Well, they've done it in 8 games this year, and you can see how rare that is. I mean, 2014 they did it in 13, but to do it in 8 games, and everybody in every position in the lineup, including the pitcher, has hit a home run.
And Brown with a base hit into center field. The first hit for the Giants. He's done a pretty good impression of Buster Posey, I got to tell you.
Yeah, keep it up. We were talking to Bruce Bochy today in his office about, hey, your rule is a guy hits 2 home runs, he's always in the lineup. And he goes, oh, he's in there. So how's Posey? He says, well, he's going to have to fight his way back into the lineup now.
Fight his way, right?
Yeah, fight it back in. Oh, my goodness, he laughed. We all laughed.
So Peavy's going to be asked to bunt. Peavy is 1 for 1 this year. He had a A solid single against the Dodgers during the home opener. And he lays down a perfect bunt.
That's as good as it gets. Runs at first and second. It should go down the third base side.
Textbook.
It was textbook perfect. The only play the Rockies had was the one they got at first. And he does it on the first pitch, which I've always said is important. They're making our forward right choice. Why not? It's perfection. We should acknowledge that. Jake Peavy, job well done. Our forward right choice. Third base side. So Lyles has to come in. Arenado, the third baseman, completely out of the play, and the only out they can get is the one at first.
Span bounced out sharply to Ben Paulson at first to open up the ball game. And he's going to look at a strike, and it's 0-1. He's got 6 RBIs on the season. He's 7 for 34, so he's off to a bit of a slow start. And the pitch is high. The infield being as hard as it is, you can still play back. And if you hit a ball pretty square, the guy at third may not score.
That's how fast this infield is. Although we've seen it faster.
Two balls and a strike.
We've seen this infield so hard you'd swear it was a parking lot. But it is still quick. I mean, it's not as quick as we've seen it, but it still favors the hitter.
Panic on deck. It's 2-1 to Denard Span. It's 3-1 to Denard Span.
Very little wind right now. A lot of carry to all parts of this ballpark.
Span's not one of those little guys that's going to take a 3-1 pitch.
No, he can try and hurt you.
He can.
And I think he's flirted with a pretty good swing.
So we'll see what Jordan Lyles does here. 3-1. And this is wrapped into the gap. And Span's going to run for a while. This game is tied. Span is going to put on the brakes. It's 2-2.
Well, count leverage. You're looking for a mistake. You're looking for a certain pitch. And he got exactly what he was looking for right at the belt. Fastball right out over the middle of the plate. A nice little swing. He's flattened it out. And with that swing of the bat, we're going to see some action from Steve Foster, the pitching coach for the Rockies. Going to come out and talk it over a little bit with Jordan Lyles. It's a meeting on the mound brought to you by Ring Central. Business communications made simple.
So Joe Panik is going to be the hitter. It's a double for Span. I'll give Blackman and Gonzalez credit for keeping Span just at second base.
I didn't think they had a chance. But one thing about this Rockies team, they got good arms all over the field. Exceptionally good arms.
Panik popped out in the first.
So if a ball does get through the gap like Spans did, even if you get that ball as an outfielder to your middle infielders on the cutoff, I mean, those strong arms they have, I mean, you run the risk of trying to get that extra 90 feet. Not an easy thing to do against this defense.
Panik got a play.
The guy who's got the weakest arm in the outfield, Charlie Blackmon in center field, he had 8 assists last year. So advance at your own risk.
Panic goes the other way. It's lifted out to Parra. 2 outs with Hunter Pence coming up. Pence bounced out to Arenado in the first. A leadoff walk to Pagan. That's how this inning got started. Hunter Pence works on his birthday. All right. See, that's a good effort.
That's good.
I know somebody who doesn't work on their birthday.
It's true.
And that's you. There's a pitch down low, 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, I mean, unless you're playing winter ball, January baseball games are hard to find.
I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
And on your birthday, even though we may be 200 miles away, I'd put one of those hats on.
I appreciate that effort. You look good in that thing.
My wife will say, "What do you got that on for?" It's Crook's birthday.
Yep.
Well, okay. Fully understandable in our house.
Who was the guy that came up with the hats? Serious business. Pitts on his birthday, 1 for 19 lifetime, so he hasn't had that much success when he celebrates his birthday.
He's due.
He is due.
2 balls and a strike. 2-2 on this foul ball that's out of play.
Did you hit well on your birthday?
You know what? I don't remember. Should be something I would know, but I don't. It's one of those things, though. If you start becoming superstitious over those things, it'll wear you out.
Oh yeah, it's this game. Can't do it.
Blocked by Hundley.
This is the most superstitious game on the planet.
It
because
is.
you play it every day.
It absolutely is.
You know, we saw it with Ryan Vogelsong. He went out, ate chicken enchiladas, had a good outing. I mean, he ate them every game he pitched for the next 3 years. Superstition. Wade Boggs ate chicken every day. Went to the Hall of Fame.
Got him, and that'll end the inning. Giants tie it up on the double by Span. And Trevor Story's going to lead things off. Jeff Samardzija and what he did last night. He's a competitor, and to go 8 innings, I was thinking maybe 6, 7, but I couldn't take him out. He just got better as he went.
Well, Dave Righetti after the game in the bus said he could have gone 9 easy. And he didn't have a slider or a split. I mean, it was all sinkers and cutter. The cutter he was throwing last night, that's as good a cutter as we've seen.
Here's Story, who takes a strike. Sacrifice fly in the first. Samardzija talking to Buster Posey. Fastball away at 89, 1 ball and 1 strike.
You saw that graphic from Samardzija. Retired the last 9 guys he faced. He got better as the night wore on. His best innings were the last 3 innings.
Well, that's always a good sign. Down low, 2 balls and a strike. Two and 2.
2-1 fastball challenge at the belt. You know, you can't help but if you have 9 hits like Trevor Story has, 7 of which are home runs, you can't help but start thinking about home runs.
That's a fact. Got him.
Just elevate that fastball up and he cannot catch up.
Here's some of Jeff Samardzija from last night.
Now that was a slider, and even when he threw a slider, it got hit into the ground. But that's the pitch right there, the hard cut, and the velocity on it was 92 to 96. It just, nobody even squared him up. Nobody was hitting loud foul balls. And today, he said, "I feel like a giant."
Gonzalez takes a bit high. He tripled in the first.
You know, and I think Samardzija does feel like, you know, hey, I'm one of the boys now.
Up and in, 2 balls and no strikes. Crawford was on the left side of the diamond. Now with the count 2-0, he moves over on an overshift. 3-0. If you think Gonzalez might swing, think again. That's fouled out of play. He will swing.
Well, I think you just assume that with everybody in this Rockies lineup. I mean, this has always been a hit town. I mean, you think Colorado Rockies, you think offense. And their whole philosophy is get a good pitch to hit. If it comes 3-0, have at it.
See that pitch there? If that's a foot lower, that's the pitch he likes.
Well, he has a hard time with a hanging slider at the belt. And there are guys like that.
Left center field, hit a ton. Span on the move. It's off the bottom of the wall as he gets to it quickly, and it'll be a double.
Now he likes to get extended. He likes balls middle away. That's always been his strength. They set an inside target, and this thing drifts out at the belt, out over the middle. And it just barrels it. And he left this batter's box, and I'm thinking he's thinking it's out of the ballpark. And I don't really know what kept it in here. It's right at the base of the center field wall, and really a nice play from Span to hold him to a double.
So here's Arenado, who picked up an RBI and a ground ball to Crawford. And a strike, and it's 0-1. Peavy, a long look at Gonzalez. And that backs off Arenado. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Peavy very aggressive with strike one. Once he gets strike one on you, then you're going to see nibbles. And start some movement off one side of the plate. Let its movement fall out of the zone, hoping that you'll chase.
Driven to left. Pagan looking up. Gone. And it's 4-2.
They set an outside corner. Another mistake to location. He misses inside at the knees. And Arenado really keeps his head down through the swing. Knocks it right out of here.
So here's Parra. And Parra lifts this one out towards Pagan into the gap, and nobody's going to get there. Parra's going to put on the brakes. It's a double. Boy, the extra base hits. 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 here in the third. Brown's going to go out and have a word.
I think the message is just, hey, you're missing your location. You've got to concentrate through the glove. If I set that outside target, you need to miss off the plate away. Do not miss out over the plate. His location mistakes have really cost him this inning.
So here's Hundley, who hit a fly ball to left in the first. No balls and 1 strike. You just have to limit the damage here.
And that's the goal. When an inning starts to go against you, just minimize it.
Hundley lifts this one into the upper deck, and it's now 0-2.
But line drives are contagious, and we've seen this in this ballpark since it opened its doors. I mean, when they get an inning going against you, it's just hard to pour water on it. You look over to the Rockies dugout, at times you feel like there's 8 guys standing in the top step with bats in their hands. Can't wait to get in that batter's box against you.
Hundley takes the 0-2 pitch down low, 1-2. Panics, making sure that Parra doesn't have any thoughts of taking off. Eight hits in the game against Peavy, 7 for extra bases. And now Peavy will spin around.
Well, you really have to mix your head looks and your head turns to Parra at second base, because if he gets you timed with 1 look and go, 1 look and go, he will take off. He's an aggressive base runner. Come set, look twice, come set, look 3 times, come set, don't even look. Just messes timing up.
Got him. So here's Ben Paulson. Paulson struck out in the second. And now Parra goes, and there's a drive into right field for a base hit. It's going to knock in Parra, and it'll be another extra base hit, and it's 5-2.
So Dave Righetti going to come out. I mean, Peavy's throwing all of his pitches up there. I mean, he's been a little sloppy with his fastball command, and they've made him pay. But it's not like he's missing a lot of pitches up. His last outing against the Dodgers back in San Francisco, he was up in that outing. Here, I mean, he's just doesn't have that quickness in his slider, and it's got a little roll to it. They have really had some balanced swings against him, and maybe the message from Dave Righetti to start throwing more changeups.
So here's LeMahieu. He's got the pitcher Lyles on deck. LeMahieu's not going to hit.
If the Giants do have to get into their bullpen, and they're well rested, with the day off on Monday, and then Samardzija going 8 strong last night, the bullpen only had to eat up 1 run or 1 inning last night, so they're rested. 8 extra base hits allowed by Peavy tonight. That's a career high against him.
So here's Jordan Lyles, who popped out in his only at bat, which came in the 2nd inning. And a swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike.
Got to keep the ball down on Lyles. So Chris Heston has got the phone call from the Giants dugout. Get ready.
Oh, 0-2. And he got him, and that'll end the inning. 4 extra base hits in the inning, 3 runs on the board. It's 5-2 Rockies. At AT&T Park starting out on April 18th. They'll be there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, April 18th, 19th, and 20th. All 3 games at 7:15, then day baseball on the 21st. A 12:45 start on a Thursday afternoon. sfgiants.com/tickets. D-backs are taking on the Dodgers tonight in L.A. That game will start a little later. Although you'd think that the only thing happening in sports tonight was Kobe Bryant's last game.
Well,
I mean,
right.
Seriously, here's Belt.
He did play for 20 years. Played 20 years at any professional level of any professional sport. You deserve a send-off.
On the ground, foul. But I thought that's what they did all year.
Well, they did. I mean, they're kind of doing that with Big Papi. David Ortiz with the Red Sox has announced that he's going to retire, so it's been kind of a farewell tour. But Kobe Bryant was 18 times an All-Star. That's a pretty good career.
All right, I get your point. Just cancel the baseball game then. Outside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
But they do have players all over Major League Baseball that are wearing his shoes, his colors, and he has a logo.
Belt to left field, a base hit.
Carlos Gonzalez, the right fielder here tonight for the Rockies, he's wearing the Kobe gloves and shoes.
Didn't get mine in the mail, otherwise they might have put him on.
I think he took them off and put on his other ones. He didn't have any hits in them.
Said might have.
Hey, they made a big fuss about it before the game. Mike Trout with the Angels is going to do it. Yasiel Puig is going to do it. The Dodgers. Nice tribute from another league.
Here's Duffy, who bounced out to third. No balls and 1 strike. Duffy now 1 for 6 lifetime against Jordan Lyles.
Big hole on the right side, inviting for Matt Duffy. He's got a good opposite field approach. When you're hitting 212 and you're hitting bullets and people are catching them, it's tough to take. A little easier if you're hitting 312 and they're catching them. A little bit easier.
On the ground to Arenado. This could be a pair. And it is. Olsen saved LeMahieu.
Well, I think that's where the play was made, right here. I mean, that's not an easy dig. A high backhander. Paulson makes it easily. Kind of an off-balance throw from LeMahieu. And Jordan Lyles digging it.
So here's Crawford. Crawford popped out in the second. And he shoots this one on the ground and a fair ball, and that's going to end the inning. So Lyles with a shutdown inning with the help of a double play. Rockies coming up, top of the order. On this date in 2012, the Giants had their home opener, and they beat the Pirates 5-0. That wasn't the real story, though. Matt Cain pitched a one-hitter. He didn't walk anybody. He struck out 11. Pirates pitcher James McDonald, with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning, picked up the only hit in the game. And exactly 2 months later, on June 13th, Matt Cain pitched a perfecto, a perfect game. Here's Blackmon. Blackmon's tripled and he's doubled. It's 5-2 Colorado. And Blackmon hits this one on one hop to Belt for 1 out. The old Adam ball.
Well, Peavy needs a couple of them. I mean, he's due to hit 3rd in the 5th inning. And he needs a quick inning and a good inning. When you're coming up to hit, you're down 3 runs. You need to convince that manager that you found it.
Here's Trevor Story. Story is flied out and he struck out. The fly ball was a sacrifice fly. Here he hits a high fly ball to right. Pence over, and it's a foul ball as Pence comes up short. This is the 4th.
Had to come a long way. Been playing towards the gap in right center. And the sidelines down around the foul lines are big here. A lot of area.
So it's a strike to Trevor Story. And a high fastball is taken. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's a ballpark that could really make an outfielder feel small because it's just so much area you have to be able to cover. And they back the fences up to try and make it fair.
Hit into center field and struck well. Span back at the wall. It is off the top of the wall. And Story is going to have another extra base hit. This one is a triple. Triples galore here tonight.
Well, I mean, hey, the new fence works. That's the only thing that kept that ball in the ballpark. Rockies extended the fence in the right center field side. That's a 16-foot fence out there now, and if that fence is not there, that's a home run. It's the top of what used to be the old fence.
So here's Gonzalez, who's tripled and doubled. Giants will play the infield as close to the hitter as they feel safe. With this hard infield, it'll get on you fast. And it's a count of no balls and 1 strike as Gonzalez cannot hold up. Heston now getting loose.
Saw Peavy go through this last year. Really got off to a slow start. I mean, he's throwing 8 1/3 innings. He's given up 20 hits.
Gonzalez came in 0 for 7 lifetime against Peavy. 2 for 2 tonight. Brown's going to go out and have a word. Also will give Heston a chance to get loose.
I mean, Peavy's going to try and strike him out. I mean, you have to here. Down 5-2, runner at third, less than 2 outs. Until tonight, Peavy has owned Gonzalez. So he knows how to strike him out.
2.
Change up.
See if he throws another one. Outside and low, 1 and 2.
And indeed, he did come back with another changeup. So he's definitely established down around the knees or below the knees, and this is an opportunity. I mean, he can elevate above the hands. Go down the dirt, go above the hands. You do not need to throw a strike here. Gonzalez is an aggressive swinger, especially with men on base. Nice block, Trevor Brown.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Peavy gets the sign from Trevor Brown. Infield in. Got him.
And again, another changeup, and that's exactly what he needed.
Here's Arenado, who homered in the 3rd. Story with the 1-out triple. Now there's 2 down. Story at 3rd. Fastball high, 1 ball and no strikes. 77 pitches for Peavy. As Mike mentioned earlier, Peavy's due to hit 3rd in the 5th.
And for Peavy, he's got to feel like he's been in the stretch all night tonight.
Ball and 1 strike.
Arenado letting out some shaft there in the 1-0 count.
One and 2.
Oh, those are the best sliders he's thrown all night. Perfect location. Set the target wide, start at the outside corner, and let the movement go off the plate. Arenado is not laying off. Do it again.
See where Brown sets up. Wanted a high fastball, 2 and 2.
Cleanse the palate of the eye. I mean, they also know that Arenado will go for that high fastball at the letters. That's a little bit too high. Pretty much an easy take, but it did set up a hard slider away off the plate.
Hit on the ground, fair over the bag at 3rd. Coming in to score is Story, and Arenado's got a double.
Now Mark Gardner standing out in the Giants bullpen. He's got his hat off. He's letting Bruce Bochy know that Heston is ready.
Here's Parra. Parra's got 2 doubles tonight. Well, with a thin bench.
Well, and you're right. It's normally they have 4 guys normally if they're all healthy, but Buster Posey now is nursing a sore foot, so really 3 guys. So Bochy wants Peavy to get through this inning so he doesn't have to pinch hit for whatever pitcher he brings in. He doesn't want a double switch rather.
Hunter Pence broke back, now in, and that'll end the inning. A run for the Rockies through 4, 6-2 Colorado.
By Tri-Counties Bank. Service with solutions.
Giants are in this game. It's only 6-2.
Well, they've come back from large deficits already this year, so it's not like they don't have the confidence to do it.
And Pagan's going to lead things off. It'll be Pagan, Brown, and then we'll see what Bruce Bochy does.
And this is a ballpark that's built for comebacks.
Pagan walked and scored in the 3rd inning. Here he taps this one slowly to LeMahieu, and it's not in time, and it didn't matter. Paulson dropped it anyway.
That was really going to be the only chance that LeMahieu had. He was playing on the cut of the grass in the outfield, and as hard as he was coming in on this ball, the speed that Pagan could put on a play, it was going to have to be a glove flip, and he almost pulled it off. Pagan gets out of the box well, sniffing a hit. And take a look at the little glove flip from the Gold Glover. Here's LeMahieu.
Trevor Brown, who singled, got the first Giants hit in the 3rd. Gregor Blanco is on deck. High fastball, no balls and 1 strike.
What a nice mistake. They set the target on the outside corner. You don't have to hit the glove every time. If you throw 94 above the hands, that could be a pretty good pitch. And that's exactly where he missed. 94 above the hands.
Pagan goes, swinging a drive to left. Parra over, he's not going to be able to get it. Pagan is going to score. Brown's got a double. It's 6-3. Stay hot, kid.
Who is this guy?
My goodness.
Well,
the Rockies are thinking, get Posey back in the line.
And he's the guy that hits 396 lifetime here. Another missed location. They set the target away. They go inside, and Trevor Brown jumps all over it. A nice read from Angel Pagan to score from first.
So here's Blanco.
Looked like he was heading off on a steal. He didn't pick up the ball till he got to second base. So that was his read.
Blanco takes wide. You never know, Blanco might see some action tomorrow. Day game after a night game. Bruce Bochy likes to keep his guys fresh. Span to follow. Two 2-0. Brown's RBI gives him 7 on the season. He's taken his lead at second, and it's 3-0.
Originally scheduled to pitch that game tomorrow for the Rockies was Christian Bergman, the right-hander, and they changed that today. Jorge De La Rosa, who is the opening day pitcher and a left-hander, has now been scheduled to pitch tomorrow.
And a strike.
So the next two starts against the Giants, you're going to see two left-handers. Actually, next 3 days.
Wood on Saturday?
Yeah, it's going to be De La Rosa, Kershaw, and Wood.
Blanco on the ground. Olsen on the back end.
Well, it winds up being a productive out. Well, Tuesday, April 26th is Chinese Heritage Night. Your special event package will include a game ticket to see the Giants take on the Padres and a collector's edition Giants-themed Year of the Monkey figurine. So, call 415-972-2298 or go to sfgiants.com/special events and check it out. And I also stand corrected. It's going to be Scott Kazmir, another left-hander. So, De La Rosa, Kershaw, and Kazmir the next 3 days.
Span takes high with Brown now at third. It's 6-3. Panic on deck. Tight to Span, who doubled in 2 runs in the third.
That's one that Lyles wanted. He thought he had that inside corner with that breaking ball.
Not close. The Rockies aren't feeling that great about this. They got a lefty up in the bullpen.
One of 4 left-handers they have in that bullpen. I mean, the Rockies are laying that infield back. They're conceding a run here with a 3-run lead.
Russin. Chris Russin. There's a strike. It's 3-1. This is right where Span was in his last at bat, 3-1. And the walk.
That was the last thing Lyles wanted to do. So Span keeps the line moving.
And Walt Weiss is moving around. Not sure he's moving around enough to take Lyles out of the game, but he is moving around.
Well, it's suffice to say that Lyles is on thin ice right now. So Walt Weiss sending out Steve Foster, his pitching coach. And this might be a message like, hey, you got one more hitter here, pal. You don't get this guy out, you're gone. So Foster chews on him a little bit.
Panik has popped out and flied out. He's 0 for 2. It's 6-3. Rockies here in the 5th. A run in. So Lyles going after Joe Panik. And this is lifted to left. This will get Brown in. And Span goes to second, and I have no idea what Parra was doing.
I mean, that's a big mistake because Parra, almost out at the warning track, tries to throw the ball home, and it allowed Span to walk into second into scoring position. The throw should have gone to second base, especially with a 2-run lead. I mean, he had eyes on home plate. I mean, look, he's got a great arm, and he's very proud of it, but it's got to be a smarter arm than that.
So maybe it was just the arm's fault.
Absolutely.
Where the arm had a mind of its own.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Pence takes a breaking ball, 1 ball and no strikes.
I mean, he's deep. You're not going to get a guy who's got average speed. And Trevor Brown runs well for a catcher. It's going to be an easy score.
Well, Pence can make it hurt with a base hit. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. 6-4.
I mean, those are the 90-foot gifts that really can penalize you in this ballpark.
Belt is on deck. Lyles has to know that if Pence reaches, it's likely he's gone. And so is any chance for a decision.
And that's what he's pitching for.
Three and 1.
I mean, that's a great pitch 1-2. It's not a great pitch 2-1. If you're throwing a breaking ball, you've got to keep that thing in the strike zone. No likelihood Pence is sitting on a fastball anyway.
Full count. Three and 2. Span goes, bouncing ball into right field, a base hit. Coming in to score is Span, and it's 6-5. Exactly what we're talking about. Even had LeMahieu kept it from getting into the outfield, I think Span would have scored.
Yeah, just a nice 2-strike at bat. LeMahieu playing towards the bag. They open up that right side, and Hunter Pence finds the hole. And look at the reaction from the birthday party. Psyched.
So Walt Weiss is coming out to get Jordan Lyles. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. your oil change tune-up and smog experts. We'll be back.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Francisco Giants and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of San Francisco Baseball Associates, LLC.
Well, the Giants are coming back. It's 6-5. Hunter Pence with his 9th RBI of the season, and Belt's going to face Chris Russin.
Take a look at for the year he had in 2015. He was a starter for a lot of the year. And when you take your bats against him, he's got a 90-ish fastball. He'll sink and cut. He's got a curveball, slider, changeup combination. One of 4 lefties in that bullpen. And they've got more lefties in their bullpen than righties, which is rare.
Belt's got a hit in 2 at-bats. And he takes a pitch high.
Russin,
no strikes.
Russin, 29 years old. He's got a little over a year's time at the big league level.
Belt dribbles it foul. Belt 0 for 3 lifetime against Chris Russin. Giants have scored 3 times here in the 5th. Lyle's a hitter away from a chance to get a win. Two balls and 1 strike. Matt Duffy to follow. And on a check swing.
You know, we talked about the mistake that the Rockies made in the outfield with Gerardo Parra not throwing to second base. And I mean, that's a momentum changer. Those are little mistakes that are 90-foot mistakes that if you can take advantage of it, like Hunter Pence did with that 2-strike, 2-out knock, that really brings momentum into your dugout. And everybody in the Rockies side sees the same thing. Mistake. And Hunter Pence made him pay. It's a big hit in this game.
Got him, and that'll end the inning. Giants score 3 times. Bottom of the 5th coming up.
area is brought to you by Amici's East Coast Pizzeria. When you want the best pizza in town, Amici's delivers.
Bottom of the 5th inning, a 6-5 lead for the Rockies. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and smog experts.
So Chris Heston out of the Giants bullpen in relief of Jake Peavy. Heston, 6'3", 195-pounder. He's 27 years old in his second year at the big league level. Sinker baller with a curveball, slider, cutter, changeup.
And he's facing Nick Hundley. On the ground to second. Work for Joe Panik. 1 out.
And that's what you get with Chris Heston. And that always pumps up a sinker ball. When he comes in and gets the first guy to hit the ball on the ground, it means he's doing something right.
Yeah, plus, get it off your thumbs.
Yeah, well,
got to make you feel pretty good.
I think that was 3 inches between, well, up the bat from the label towards the thumbs. Did feel good, I know that much.
Here's Ben Paulson, and he takes a strike. Paulson doubled off of Jake Peavy in the 3rd inning. Cued to Duffy. Two outs, and here's DJ LeMahieu.
2 outs, 2 ground balls. I still have stone bruises on my thumbs from 30 years ago. Getting jammed.
LeMahieu is 1 for 1 with a walk.
Plus, getting jammed at Candlestick Park, that made it worse.
Down low, 2-0.
Used to watch Greg Minton, who had a turbo sinker. He would jam guys, and they would scream when they would leave the batter's box. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, he just didn't know how he threw it. Just natural.
Yeah, I asked him, how do you throw it? He goes, I don't know. I just throw it.
2-1. 2-2 on the foul ball, out of play.
Grip it like this and throw it as hard as you can.
Last year, this role went to Yasmero Petit. And a full count to LeMahieu.
Who's now a Washington National.
Indeed he is. Playing for Dusty Baker. Payoff pitch coming up to LeMahieu. And he walked it. So Russon's going to hit. Russon batting with 2 outs and LeMahieu at first. And LeMahieu takes off, and Brown's throw, and they got him. Brown's doing it all, folks. 6th inning coming up. Duffy to lead it off. 2016 All-Star Teacher, and it's brought to you by Provident Credit Union. You can vote at csnbayarea.comcast/AST. It's the 10th season of the CSN All-Star Teacher Program, recognizing teachers that make a difference. The winner receives $20,000 for his or her school. Great program. Does a lot of good for a lot of people.
It really does.
So here's Duffy facing Chris Russin. 6'5", Rockies. Russin replaces Lyles. It's Duffy, Crawford, and Pagan. And the first pitch is wide, 1-0. The Dodgers and D-backs are underway in LA. I'm watching, the ballpark is completely empty.
Well,
as this has popped up. And Arenado's going to put it away.
well, let's watch the throw him out from Trevor Brown. I mean, it went up from the bag towards first base line, but he got rid of it so quickly that Crawford had a chance to catch and drop the tag on. I think if he'd have stolen that base successfully, they would have pinch hit Russin, the pitcher. So the Mayhew sent packing. A nice play from Trevor Brown and Brandon Crawford.
Here's Crawford. I suppose he says, job well done. Crawford is popped out and bounced out. And the pitch is in tight 1-0. By the way, it's not true. There's a good crowd at Dodger Stadium, as you would expect. Pagan to follow. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Bruce Bochy loves to see swings like that.
Well, especially 1-0.
Just let it fly.
You get count leverage, get after it. Especially if you led the team in home runs last year, like Brandon Crawford did with 21.
Foul back. 1 and 2. Get the barrel of the bat out there, and Crawford does.
Throw the head.
In the dirt.
Angel Pagan getting ready to hit right-handed for the first time in this game.
Up the middle. On the backhand is Story, and he throws him out.
Follow Giants Baseball live on the MLB.com @bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game, video highlights, StatCast, news, and much, much more. Download MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Little quick pitch from Russin. Just a little slide step there and go. A little sneak attack fastball. And Brandon Crawford, nice job of going back up the middle, only to hit into the defensive shift. And it turns out to be a big league hang with him.
So here's Pagan. Pagan has reached twice, a walk and an infield hit. And he takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
See more and more quick pitching around baseball. And Troy Hawkins is a guy who really utilized it. Everywhere he went, you started seeing guys do it. He left his mark here in this city. Giants fans get a chance to watch Johnny Cueto do it a lot. I mean, he does it more than anybody.
There's Johnny Cueto watching. And it's 0-2 to Pagan. Got him. Russin, a 1-2-3-6. 6-5, Colorado.
Area is brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience TV.
Here in Denver, it's a 6-5 lead for the Rockies. Heston starts out his second inning of work, and it'll be Chris Russin who's going to lead things off. Russin was at the plate when LeMahieu got thrown out, trying to steal second. And this is pulled foul. Hit sharply.
It's a pretty good hack right there. I can see right there with one swing why Walt Weiss has let this guy hit.
Top of the order, Charlie Blackmon on deck. Back door to him, 1 and 2.
Perfect location on the back door.
Tries it again, and Crawford's got a beat on this one. 1 out. And that'll bring up Blackmon. Blackmon, a triple, a double, and a ground ball to Belt. And the first pitch is down low. And a called strike. Duffy is in at third. On the ground to Belt again. Belt taking himself 2 outs.
So the sinker working tonight for Heston. And that's a pitch that doesn't always show up at Coors Field. Sinkers and sliders can kind of take a vacation. It has not been an issue for Heston tonight. He's put the ball on the ground beautifully.
Story is 1 for 2.
His last at bat a triple, one of 10 extra base hits that Jake Peavy gave up. And that is of historical significance, and we'll talk about that in a second. Over the last 50 seasons, only Jake Peavy, Kurt Schilling, and Louis Tiant have allowed 10 extra base hits in a game.
Wow. Ever?
Well, the last 50 years. That's ever as far as I'm concerned.
Ever since the last 50 years? Wow.
That's a lot. And all 3 of those guys had great careers. All of them.
That's a good sign for Peavy. 2 balls in this.
You're right. You got to be good to allow 10 extra base hits. Schilling, a lot of people believe should be a Hall of Famer. I'm included in that group.
Struck well into right center field. Story, has he done it again? Off the top of the wall. And he is going to have another triple. And they're going to put on the brakes at third.
Hey, the new fence is working.
Otherwise, the kid would have 9 home runs on the season.
That's right. He's hit 2 tonight that the new fence extension in right center has kept in the yard. This time last year, he's round tripping. And that's about 4 feet away from the top. So we'll have to settle for a triple. So let's review. He's got 11 hits, 7 home runs, 2 triples, and 2 singles. Last year, home run.
Here's Gonzalez. Gonzalez is 2 for 3. Balls and 1 strike.
When we got here yesterday, I mean, you couldn't walk around town without everybody talking about Trevor's story. He was the National League Player of the Week. 7 home runs, his first 6 games, 12 RBIs. He was the guy. Last night, Jeff Samardzija just handled him 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
On the ground, Duffy on the backhand. Can he throw him out? He will not. Coming in to score is Story, and it's 7-5.
Just too much leg speed from Carlos Gonzalez. He just doesn't give you enough time. You can see where they had Duffy way off the line, and he goes down, and even if he bobbles it, he still got quickly to the ball with the bare hand and up in the throwing position, but it didn't make a difference. Gonzalez by the bag. An easy call for first base umpire Carlos Torres.
So here's Arenado. I have no idea how the Giants are still in this game.
Coors Field.
And a strike to Arenado. Eleven extra base hits in this game for the Rockies. One ball and 1 strike. See if Gonzalez tries to steal second. This is hit on the ground and a base hit into left field. And that'll bring up Parra.
So Trevor Brown going to come out and talk to Chris Heston, as is Dave Righetti. And he will point out, look, you're getting your ground balls. They'll find a glove. Keep doing it. That's the problem with being a ground ball pitcher in this ballpark because of the infield's reputation as being a fast infield. You don't get great range with your infielders because of the speed of this infield. Works so hard to get that ball on the ground, and all of a sudden, whoop, gets through the infield. It can be a bit demoralizing, but that's when you need your pitching coach to come out and give you a little pep talk, get you pumped up.
Parra is 2 for 3. He's got a couple of doubles. And he takes low, 1 ball and no strikes. Out of play. Heston got Russin and Blackman for the first 2 outs of this inning, and then triple, single, single. And that's chopped foul, so it's 1-2. One ball and 2 strikes. Gonzalez at second, Arenado at first. And that'll end the inning. A run for the Rockies. Giants are still in it. Unbelievable. Toyota game summary, and it's brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. A lot of offense tonight. 14 hits for the Rockies, 6 for the Giants. Jake Peavy in 4 innings allowed 10 extra base hits. That's a San Francisco record. Trevor Brown stays hot. Lyles was 1 out away from a decision, and Arenado has got 3 hits. That shouldn't surprise anybody. So here's Brown. Brown is 2 for 2. And he takes wide, 1 ball and no strike.
I expect Brown to get a hit every time now. He expects himself to get a hit every time now. I think that's the most important thing.
Into center field. And Blackman puts it away. 1 out.
Oh, right on the button.
And it's going to be Tomlinson who's going to hit. So Kelby Tomlinson is going to do the honors with 1 out. Tomlinson takes a pitch down low, hitting at 250. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Good changeup. Russ is using all the pitches. He's got 4 we talked about, plus 2 types of fastball, 5 types of movement, and they're all working for him.
Tomlinson trying to get on for Span. Giants down by 2 here in the 7th. Foul, 3-2.
Tomlinson, a very compact approach, and because of his compact swing, makes him a good 2-strike hitter.
Out of play as he fights that one off. Russin really settled this game down, at least for Walt Weiss. And the payoff. And he fouls another one out of play.
Fight.
Well, that's the one thing Tomlinson will do. He will fight you.
Good changeup, and I mean perfect location outside corner to these. So he wins the battle. Third strikeout rather for Russin. Now this is the perfect pitch. You're up there in the protect mode. You will expand to protect at that time.
So here's Span. Span is 1 for 2. And he looks at a strike from Russin. It's no balls and 1 strike. And he shoots this one out of play.
Really starting to get his swing back. He's got a very deliberate rhythm. It does some things that are really quite unorthodox. The way that he hooks his toe is on his right foot. He'll point it right back towards the catcher or even at the umpire. And then as the pitcher gets ready, he drops down and really puts himself in a low position, bent legs.
On the ground, LeMahieu, side retired. Nice play. Bottom of the 7th coming up. It remains 7-5 Rockies. Playoffs game 1, Sharks and Kings tomorrow at 7:30. Pregame live will start at 7 p.m. and you can see it on CSN California. The Sharks are back in the playoffs and good luck to them.
Indeed, good luck, Sharkies.
Corey Guerin is in to do the pitching. 7-5 Rockies. It's time for a change to Expedia Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change tune-up and smog expert.
And Corey Guerin off to a good start. 4th game that he's come into. He's given up just a couple base runners in 3 innings. 1 strikeout. Lots of sink. Low 3/4 release. Sinker, slider, changeup. And a strike thrower. Guy you can bring in an existing inning. He's also a guy who can give you a couple. mentioned before the game, the Giants bullpen really in a good situation health-wise because of the day off Monday and the 8 innings of work that Jeff Samardzija gave Bruce Bochy last night.
So the first hitter that Guerin will face will be Nick Hundley. Hundley is 0 for 3. First pitch is inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Ben Paulson and then DJ LeMahieu. Giants would be wise to keep this deficit at 2.
Well, that's the plan. Guerin came to Giants camp this year in spring training, and he was out of options. He had such a great spring that they had to find a spot for him. Fully recovered from Tommy John surgery.
On the ground to Belt. 1 out. And here's Paulson.
And if you're talking about stuff, movement on the pitches that you throw, Guerin's got some of the biggest movement on this entire Giants staff. I don't think he can physically throw the ball straight.
Paulson is 1 for 3. No overshift, but the Giants are playing Paulson to pull. And a half swing, and it's 0-1.
Well, that's one that you're happy it's the first strike and not the third strike when you have a swing like that.
And the pitch is down low. 21,891 here tonight. I'm sure the crowd down, maybe 10,000 due to the Kobe Bryant deal in LA. One pitch to Paulson. Hit on the ground. Panic as that one scoot underneath his glove. What do you think Joe Panic would say about that?
Well, he's not happy about it.
He would tell you that he should have had it.
Just under the glove. And you're right. He will tell you that.
So here's LeMahieu. Ryan Rayburn is on deck. And a strike to LeMahieu. LeMahieu has been on base 3 times, but he hasn't scored. And that pitch runs down and in to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's a good miss, though, if you're a right-handed sinker baller facing a right-handed hitter. If you miss it down and in, I mean, that's where you want to miss. Don't say about how do you hit a sinker ball. You look up. Look for mistakes. He wants you to get after that ball starts off down around the knees, because by the time you get out after it, it's gone.
Big swing and a miss, 1 and 2. For the Giants in the 8th inning, they'll have Panic, Pence, and Belt. And they're obviously hoping for Duffy, Crawford, and Pagan all to hit. Got him.
2 good hard sliders for strike 2 and 3.
So here's Rayburn.
And LeMahieu's been red hot. He's a guy that really hasn't gone out of the strike zone much. Came into this game hitting .462. He's got a single and a couple of walks, so he's seeing it big. So 2 good pitches to put him away.
So Ryan Rayburn stands in, right-handed hitter, with Paulson at first base. And the first pitch is low. One ball and no strikes. Top of the order, Charlie Blackmon would follow. And that's tapped foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Guerin rubbing up the baseball. Guerin at the belt and the pitch. So we're going to tap her out in front of home plate. Brown picks it up in fair territory, and that's going to end the inning. Giants are coming up. They got a good spot in their lineup. It'll be Panic, Pence, and Belt. It's 7-5 Rockies.
A friend or family member that is graduating, check out the Giants grad pack. It's the perfect gift for the graduate this spring. Tickets to 2 Giants games plus a class of 2016 Giants cap with orange tassel. Packs start as low as $39. For more information on the grad pack, visit sfgiants.com/minipacks. I want to get that, I want to get that, I want to get that.
We'll get you one. 7-5 Rockies when it's time for a change. Think Speedy, oil change and auto service, your oil change tune-up and smog experts.
So Walt Weiss going to the bullpen once again, and he is calling out Miguel Castro, who is a hard thrower, 21 years of age, from the Dominican Republic. You'll see it mid to high 90s and a hard slider changeup combo. More sliders and changeups. But 7 strikeouts in 4 innings. He's only given up 1 hit. Tells you he's got good stuff.
Here's Panic. And Panic looks at a strike. He is 0 for 2. He's got a sacrifice fly.
As advertised, 96 first pitch.
Hunter Pence, and then Brendan Belt. Panic drives it to center field. Blackman is going to get there and put it away.
Boy, did he have a nice jump.
Wow. And here's Pence.
If you're going to play center field in this ballpark, you better have a good first step, and Blackman's got one. And he needed it to flag that one down, and he wound up making it look pretty easy.
Pence is 1 for 3. And a strike, and it's 0-1.
That is some giddy up right there. 97 outside corner.
Belt watching.
Castro was one of the really big parts of that trade that sent Troy Tulowitzki to Toronto. And you can see just why they like him. That's a big league emergency swing right there. That's as good as it gets.
So Pence battling right now, trying to get on for Belt and then for Duffy. Taps this one right back to Castro. 2 outs. And here's Belt.
The Blue Jays felt, and the Rockies feel, that someday this guy's going to be a closer. Yes, he has got the stuff.
Belt is 1 for 3. And he takes low. 1 ball and no strikes. Giants with only 6 hits. They've scored 5 runs. Rockies with 15 hits, and they've scored 7 runs.
Big sweeping breaking ball, and that's the first time Belt's ever seen that, so it's always an advantage for a pitcher showing a hitter his breaking ball for the first time. And he threw it 1-0.
Belt hits a high drive to right. Gonzalez gone. Belt has made it a 1-run ball game. It's 7-6. Home run number 2 on the year.
Well, the thing about a hard thrower like Castro, he's going to supply the power. And that was a gift. Middle end, mid thigh. And just not a big swing either.
So here's Duffy. And Duffy with a half swing, and it's 0-1. So the Giants with a home run as this is hit off the end of the bat to Paulson, and that's going to end the inning. Belt gets the Giants a run closer. He hits home run number 2 on the season, and it's bye-bye baby. 7-6 Rockies. at noon. Pregame live will start at 11:30 right here on CSN Bay Area. It'll be the Giants and the Rockies as they close out this 3-game series. Matt Cain against Jorge De La Rosa. Josh Osich is the new pitcher for the Giants. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and smog experts.
The numbers for Josh Osich, 6th time that he has come in. He's off to a good start. No ERA yet. Just a couple of hits allowed, 4 1/3. Hard thrower. You're going to see mid to high 90s in the fastball, hard slider to changeup. And to date, he's been effectively wild. He hasn't had the same type of command that we saw him have when he came up last year, but he's made it work.
Pretty good pitch, called a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Blackman a triple and a double, and then his last 2 at bats he's bounced out to Belt. Down low, 3-1. Tapped. Panic underneath his glove. Blackman's going for 2. Now he puts on the brakes.
Well, very uncharacteristic. It's happened 2 times now in this game for Joe Panic. He's had 2 balls go under his glove, and this is kind of a do or die. Going to his right, a backhander, and he just misjudges.
So they're going to charge Joe Panic with an error, and here's Trevor Story. Story's got 2 triples in this game. Osich freezing everybody. The Giants in the bottom of the 9th, or check that in the top of the 9th, would be Crawford, Pagan, and Brown. Chop foul. Balls in 1 strike. Left on the bench for the Giants, Adrianza and Buster Posey, and we don't know if Buster Posey is available or not. Oh, 2.
95 with some attitude. Lot going on with Blackman at first base.
Driven to right, and that'll be a base hit. Blackman's going to put on the brakes.
Oh, nice 2-strike hitting there. Going the opposite way. We'll stay tuned immediately after Giants baseball for Esurance Giants postgame live. You get highlights, reaction, and analysis, and it's all coming right up after the game.
So out to have a word with Osich is Trevor Brown. So here's Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez, 3 hits. He scored twice. He's got an RBI. And he swings and misses. No balls and 1 strike.
Top of the Rockies lineup tonight. And they have been unbelievable. Blackman 2 hits. Story 3 hits. Gonzalez 3 hits. Arenado 3 hits. Parra 2 hits. They have all swung it well. Power against power right there. 95-mile-an-hour challenge. We talk about the aggressive style of Gonzalez, especially aggressive with men on base and in scoring position.
Got him 3 pitches.
Right back down below the strike zone. And you take advantage of a hitter's aggressiveness. And that's how you do it. So with a runner at second base and first base, but a runner at second, nobody out, he has to pitch for the strikeout. And he gets it in an impressive way.
So here's Arenado, who needs a triple for the cycle. The Rockies have hit a few triples today. Blackman at second, Story at first.
That play was called from the bench. Giants know Blackman's reputation. He has got good instincts on those bags. If you don't pay attention to him as a pitcher, he'll burn you.
And a strike is Blackman was thinking about it.
That's a big 90 feet. It changes everything with 1 out. If he steals that bag, it changes everything.
And that pitch is down low. So that time Osich didn't even take a look at Blackman.
Hey, it's an effective way. I mean, I don't. It's never been taught in our generation, but it's been exposed in this generation of player. It works. You don't even look at a runner. It messes him up. We saw Tim Lincecum do it. I don't know if he was doing it on purpose. I think at times he just didn't care if a guy was in second base because he felt he could strike out the next guy no matter what.
I think you're right. One ball and 1 strike. Two and 1. Brown's going to go out again.
This one you might get a scout report too from your catcher. You come out and say, listen, that sinker's sinking well. You don't have to be so fine with it. Throw that thing over the middle of the plate. Let your sink get you a ground ball and get you out of this inning. Sometimes the guy throwing the baseball is the last to know just what type of stuff he has, but the catcher, now that's a different story.
Hey, remember when I said the Giants have Adrianza and Posey available to pinch hit?
Yeah.
I forgot. Bumgarner.
That's right. Who's Pochi will use Bumgarner.
And that was designed just to let Blackman know that they will throw to second, because he's got intentions of trying to steal third. Three and one.
So Osich going with the no look. And it was effective.
Well, now your attention has to be focused on throwing a strike. And Arenado probably knows that. It's 3 balls and 1 strike.
Two looks.
Hit high and deep to left. And he's got another one. So Arenado clears the bases. And it's 10-6.
Well, he did it to the Giants last year 10 times. And here is second one of this young season. And second one tonight. A challenge fastball. And he knew it.
So here's Parra. And Parra gets jammed and rolls one to Duffy. And Duffy will throw it out.
And let's take a look at just how far this thing goes over the wall. I mean, that was a big potato.
So here's Hundley. Hundley is 0 for 4.
Extra base hits tonight. And how significant is that? Well, that's the most ever allowed in San Francisco Giants history. Wow.
And a called strike. Well, if it was going to get done, it was going to get done here. Two balls and a strike to Nick Hundley. 3-1. Falling behind to Arenado was probably not a good idea.
Well, it's created a 3-1 opportunity here for Hundley as well, and he's got some pop.
And the walk. So Paulson's going to be the hitter. Paulson has a couple of hits tonight. And he shoots this one foul down the left field line and out of play.
Well, the birthday party was a little stale.
Yeah, a little stale. Start another one tomorrow.
It's the birthday week, right?
It's all week.
Hunter Pitt's birthday today. It's the birthday week. It's kind of morphed into the birthday month with my kids.
1-1 strike. This is hit on the ground into the hole and a base hit. And that'll bring up LeMahieu.
And that's a 3-hit night for Paulson. So Dave Righetti is just going to try and bring some calm out here. It's been hard to find in this ball game. And while Dave Righetti is talking to Josh Osich, we can bring you our player of the game. It's brought to you by Honda, and we think that Arenado is that guy tonight. Nolan Arenado, 4 for 5, couple of home runs, a double, 7 RBIs. And the last one, a 3-run shot, absolutely hurt. Our player of the game brought to you by Honda, Nolan Arenado.
DJ LeMahieu is 1 for 2. The ball's in 1 strike.
A little anger behind that slider at 90. So Osich missing with the changeup, and it evens the count. And I think that's the one thing too. A pitching coach will come out and tell a young pitcher, especially a hard thrower like Osich, pitch. Don't become a thrower. Become a pitcher. Use your pitches.
And the 1-1 is in the dirt. 2 balls in 1 strike.
Well, it's one of the hardest things to learn as a young pitcher is how to subtract. When guys start teeing off on you and getting hits, I mean, your instinct is to add, to throw harder. But what you learn while you're up here, if you're up here long enough, is you'll learn how to subtract. The harder they hit it, the softer you throw it.
2-1 to LeMahieu. 3-1. Barnes is on deck. And the walk.
Now it's a concentration problem right now. He's not used to this, and that's going to be it.
So that's it for Osich. Contos is coming in. The Rockies have scored 3 times here in the 8th. It's 10-6. We'll be back. Cantos on to do the pitching.
Well, it's become the never-ending inning here in the 8th, and George Cantos being summoned out of the bullpen to try and get that last out. See what he has done in 5 games. 6 base runners allowed, 3 strikeouts in 4 innings. And for George, low to mid-90s fastball, slider, curveball, changeup.
So he'll be facing Barnes. This is the 9th Rockies hitter to hit. And Barnes on the first pitch lifts one out to center field. And that'll end the inning. Giants need 4 to tie to extend this game. Crawford's going to lead things off. SFNBayArea.com. You can log on each week as insider Alex Pavlovich talks with players, coaches, special guests. The Giants Insider podcast with Alex Pavlovich, CSNBayArea.com. (10-6). Jake McGee is the new pitcher.
And McGee has become the Rockies' closer. And this is what he has done. Off to a good start. 2 innings, a couple of hits allowed. 2 for 2 in save opportunities. This is not a save op as the Rockies have a 4-run lead, but he throws the ball well. You'll see mid-90s fastball with a hard curveball. Kind of a 2-pitch guy.
Barnes is now in center field as Crawford stands in. Takes a strike. Crawford 0 for 3. As I mentioned, Barnes now at center. Crawford taps it foul. It's 0-2.
Rockies got McGee from Tampa Bay. That was the trade that sent Corey Dickerson to Tampa. The trade back in January. And with an injury to Jason Mott, McGee has become the closer. But he's got the stuff to do it. And it's not like he's never done it before. He had 19 saves for Tampa back in 2014.
Oh, 0-2 to Crawford. And Crawford stays alive. Pagan to follow. No balls and 2 strikes. And Crawford shoots this one behind Billy Hayes.
Not fooled at all by the breaking ball there. And the birthday boy made a nice play. Either that or he's a unicorn. Yeah, birthday boy. Hunter Pence celebrating his birthday with some friends tonight.
A lot of friends. Crawford out swinging.
Good breaking ball. A perfect location. That's how you take advantage of an 0-2 advantage.
So here's Pagan. Pagan's been on base twice. He scored twice.
That was a birthday rally cap. I'd never seen one of those. Yep. Attitude.
On deck is Trevor Brown. I mentioned 21,891. As Pagan takes a bit high. 1 ball and no strikes. There's a call strike to Pagan.
That's some pain. Down to the count 1-0.
Giants need base runners.
Yeah, I think McGee sort of anticipates the Giants will take a strike, as Pagan just did. But just about the time you assume a guy's going to take a strike and they're down 4 runs, you lay one in there and the guy tattoos it. It reaffirms the old saying, assumption is the mother of all screw-ups.
You just never know.
You never know.
3-1 to Pagan. Giants will take a walk here. They'll take a couple of more walks.
Yes, they will.
Pagan shoots it foul. It's 3-2.
Butchie would love to set it up for Buster Posey. Step in that batter's box as the tying your go-ahead run.
Three-two pitch. And the walk.
So a gift.
So here's Brown. Brown is 2 for 3. His out was a line drive to center field. And the pitch is down low. Henry Adrianza is on deck. Brown with a healthy rip, and that got Hundley.
Yeah, right in the mask. Jar your teeth. Yep, the minute masks, they will make sure everybody's all right. It is a fellowship. Umpires, catchers. Once you put that mask on, you're in the same fraternity.
One ball and one strike with Pagan at first and one out. We're in the ninth. Two balls and a strike.
One more look right head on in the mask of Nick Hundley. And you got to believe he's thinking, I could have gone all night without that.
Could have avoided that in the ninth. That would have been great. Three and one, and this is starting to get a little interesting.
Well, you're right. And one more base on balls, and all of a sudden, evil thoughts are going to start creeping in the head of Jake McGee.
Foul out of play, 3-2. Matt Cain tomorrow. Matt Cain has pitched some very nice games in this park. Three and two to Trevor Brown. This is popped up. Two outs. And here's Adrianza.
How about that? Six career game with 2 home runs, and 3 of them have come against the Giants. And the 7 RBIs tonight, a career high.
Pretty incredible. So here's Adrianza. And a call strike. And that's going to go to the backstop, and Pagan will move up 90 feet.
Nick Hundley, I don't think is digging this inning. Took one off the mask here. He gets a scud out there in front of the home plate. And I think this conversation is, yo, if you throw another one in the dirt like that, I'm going to punch you. I have heard that conversation from Bob Ridley.
I'm sure you have. On the ground to Story. And that's the ball game. So in the game where the Giants hung in there after the Rockies pounded out 18 hits, it was a 1-run game until the 8th inning. The Rockies beat the Giants in a game that we've seen before here.
Well, we've seen it a lot. I mean, it's a good old-fashioned Coors Field game with 18 hits against the Giants, but all the extra base hits historically, and more extra base hits than have ever happened against the San Francisco Giants team.
So your final score in game 2 of this 3-game series, with game 3 tomorrow, it's the Rockies 10 and the Giants 6. Stay tuned. Esurance Giants Postgame Live starts right now.